40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV, where we have the second to last race of the Area 51 Superspeedway Xfinity Series here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway, and we're going to be here again in 1 week's time to crown a champion. And I was saying it's nice of NASCAR to copy our schedule as well, Brandon, because they were there a little earlier today. Won't spoil it for those that are still waiting to watch it maybe after this race tonight. So, but yeah, hope you're all having a wonderful evening. And right now, like I said, drivers putting their qualifying laps in to see where they start. Not a huge field tonight, Brandon, about 16 cars it looks like. And that's just going to make every spot, I think, more and more intense to try to get. So those bonus points, we're always going to talk about those, leading a lap, leading the most laps. Every little bit's going to count. But right now, it's kind of, unless something changes, it's a bit of a two-horse race. Gabe Butler has a 1-point lead over Maxwell Caldwell. And then it's Dean Wilkinson in third, but he's 17 out of the lead. But right with Dean, though, it's close, though. You've got Dean 17 out. Justin Davis is only 3 back behind him. Jack Wallace 3 behind him. I think Jack may be not here this evening. I think this is why he had given up his spot. So, again, the selflessness of Jack there. But, again, having a great playoff before that. Unfortunate that he obviously couldn't run them all out there. And then another 4 back would be Everett Lane there. So, yeah, there's still a handful of guys there right in that top 5 window. So, if either of those two falter, there's going to be drivers ready to kind of jump on them right away. So it's going to be curious to see what the strategies are going to be. Obviously, we know that Maxwell and Gabe are going to try to probably do max points. But what I always talk about is my concern is you focus too much on each other, you're going to get a Dean Wilkinson, a Justin Davis. They're going to creep right in there. That you guys keep watching each other. I'm going to go ahead and steal a bunch of points off you. So it'll be fun to see what everybody's strategy is here tonight. All right. right, looks like qualifying has just finished up. So we are going to pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. All right, so on pole position is going to be Cody Nagels. Cody back on track tonight doing what he does best. Next to him will be the aforementioned Maxwell Caldwell. Then you got Dean Wilkinson third, Everett Lane in fourth, Tom Dixon, Gabe Butler. So there you go, a bunch of the front runners in the points right in that top six. You got Doug Webb, Todd Merkel, 7th and 8th, Jim Duda, Justin Davis. Then you got Eric Laurie and Jim Brooks, 11th and 12th. And then rounding out the field, you've got Gary Huffines, Bob Fitzgerald, Hayden Davis, and Bud Steele will be our 16 starters for tonight's event. And so, yeah, so again, I think name of the game tonight, Brandon, probably going to be pretty much everybody's going to be talking, in my mind at least, figuring out that strategy on pits. Of course, money lap is lap number 50. And that should be pretty much after the second scheduled pit stop if we go green, which I was hearing about 23-ish or so laps should be about that magic number.
Yeah, I think the groups are going to be important tonight. Seeing Cody Nagels missed a couple races here in the playoffs, so kind of eliminated his chance. He hopped down there with Dean and those guys, so we've seen it on Friday. You got to execute these pit stops, and Team Bootnaka had a really, really good plan on Friday, a caution. Kind of ended see how that would turn out for them guys. But, yeah, I think the same thing's going to come down here tonight, like you said, with the shorter number of drivers. So one mistake can be pretty bad for you.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun to see. The field's about to roll off here for tonight's event. As pace car goes, you see Cody and Maxwell starting to roll out of pit road. And I'd say I'm seeing some more Halloween-themed paint schemes popping in here as well. So we'll be definitely going through those tonight, Brandon. But yeah, like I said, it's not a ton of cars tonight, so that's gonna play a role in the strategies and then also, of course, we'll always love to spy on the Discords and see kind of who's where. So got 4 drivers over in the Bootnaka Discord. That is going to be Doug Webb, Eric Laurie, Everett Lane, Gabe Butler. Roswell's got 3 at the moment: Bud Steele, Gary Huffines, and Jim Brooks. Unfortunately, Charles Johnson not able to make this one. Also, another reason some of these guys giving up their playout spots. So, again, just the selflessness, really cool to see. We got the Team Davis of Hayden and Justin. And I think we've got maybe a little bit of a merger going on tonight, because I was going to say it's Todd Merkel, Maxwell Caldwell working together, but they're over on the TW side as well. So that's going to include Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, Cody Nagels, and Tom Dixon. So that's going to be the big hitter team tonight. Looks like 6 drivers in that one. And then we got to work on getting our man Jim Duda, find him some buddies, because he's had a really good results recently, and he's running on his own there in Discord. So we'll have to find him some friends here, especially if he keeps getting those results that he's had lately.
Yeah, he's been running pretty good, and that's nice, to have a lot of teammates, man. But we got some guys joining teams here to, maybe benefit their runs. Sometimes that can cause disaster, guy yells. So more teammates, more commitment could cause more problems. So it's going to be something to keep your eye on, and a lot of communication, that's for sure.
Yeah, so Everett's ready to go 3 wide there during the pace lap. They're peeking under Maxwell. So maybe just trying to give him a little bit of grief before we make him start thinking about that 24 car in his mirror. But yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. We're going to see some good racing tonight. Again, 23-ish laps is the fuel window. Should be guaranteed 3-stop race to the end. Cody Nagels, Maxwell Caldwell on that front row. As we hit that restart zone, once the green comes out, we will be underway. 75 scheduled laps, 2 fast pairs available, 2 green-white checkers, as we are green here at Talladega, playoff race number 3 of 4.
Yeah, good restart there by Cody Nagels. We've seen him so many times this season start up front there and lead a lot of laps. So as we brought earlier, him working with the 55 and those guys up there, Maxwell, that's a good thing to see. Get a good aggressive driver with just a commitment to helping a teammate tonight, or a fellow driver, and he's led him all the way down the backstretch here, as we're starting to see Team Bootnaka work together on the outside to make it 3 wide as we go down the backstretch.
And I was literally, as I was about to ask it, they answered the question, and that was going to be, are they going to maybe look at trying to see if they can find a way around that 94 car, and they immediately did. Cody saw it happen. He jumps to the middle lane. They start to squeeze each other up on that 2nd and 3rd lane. as we've got side drafting, a little bit of a door there off each other. And again, we talked about these cars do not bump draft, I should say, very well. So there is a lot of opportunities for these cars will get settled in those bumps. And it looks like Cody will lead lap number 1. A very eventful lap number 1, though.
Yeah, it's definitely very eventful as those guys giving each other a high five, what I like to call it, start the race. Is Cody Nagel, he's aggressive. We've seen him, the 88 of Gabe Butler, they are good enough where they can bounce these lines. It's going to be close there. Ooh, in that second lane, Maxwell Caldwell, there Cody Nagel's getting down. But I like to see this. We talked about it, the lower amount of cars. How was it going to, pan out? And I thought maybe the racing was going to be a little bit boringer tonight with this small amount of cars. The drivers right here showing it's not going to be that early.
Contact there with I think that was the 2 and the 88 possibly. And yeah, no, there's definitely not. Oh, the 33, we got trouble in the back there. Jim Duda is off track along with Hayden Davis, Eric Laurie. At the moment, it's going to stay green because these guys were off the racing surface, out of the drama. And unfortunately, I think it is going to stay unless they throw an admin yellow. But the problem is with all that that's happened, a few drivers have lost the draft. So let's go back and see. So we're going to try to focus on Jim Duda initially here. You see Eric Laurie there. He's looking towards the middle of the 10, almost going 4 wide there. And then, yeah, Eric, I think, again, he sees the 33 or spotter calls it. He drifts up a little bit. That gets him into the 10, pushes the 33 down. And then from there, just kind of the accordion effect as well. So then you'll see Eric. That's where I believe he then also gets, unfortunately, into that 19 of Hayden Davis. And then, yeah, in all of that, though, you can see a few cars that had backed off, like the 51, like the 10, and that's what's cost them that main pack. So we'll jump back live, though, and again, the caution did not come out. You can see Justin Davis out of the draft, Jim Brooks out of the draft. So that's now leaving us with just 11 cars now in this main pack. And again, we're not even at lap 5 here, Brandon.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to slow down one bit. This race right here, these points up here leading the lap, if we're going to have this much battling up here front for the lead, it's going to really make it even tougher to see who's going to lead the most laps. So some extra bonus points that's a little bit more valuable here tonight with only 2 races to go in the playoffs. And right now, the 94 Maxwell Caldwell, he's going to get himself maybe a lap lead as they come here through the tri-oval.
Yeah, and right now I think that's going to be the plan, is to obviously lead a lap and then, of course, lead the most laps. I think right there Everett may have just had it. But again, you start talking about the numbers, and so if you're the Boondockers, let's say you've lost Eric Laurie for the moment in that group there, so it leaves them 3 out of the 4 that they had originally. Looking at the TW group, so you've got, again, and then TW and Associates will maybe say tonight. So you look at the inside lane, you've got, I believe, 4 of them. 4 of them in a row there with the 94, the 16, the 55, and the 411. Doug Webb hasn't found his way to the top yet to get to the 20 from the 88, but man, these guys are just, again, these guys are racing like it's 5 to go, not lap 5. Just the tight drafting, side drafting, maybe a little bit as well. And yeah, this is going to be a stressful race if it stays like this, and it's going to be one of those ones where you're mentally exhausted afterwards.
Yeah, and it's one that a broadcaster like me loves. I love some exciting racing. This is, to me, the best track on the circuit, not only here, but on the NASCAR circuit. Talladega is just, anybody can win it, and it can come from anywhere. As we see the 6 of Bud Steele, he says, hey, let me get up here and maybe take over the lead. It's just him and the 00 of Gary Huffines working on the outside there, but making a charge here towards the front.
Yeah, it's the same situation for those 2. They've lost Jim Brooks in that whole situation, so that's now just, I believe, got the 2 of them in the Roswell camp as well. So yeah, right now it said the alliances are starting to kind of losing them a little bit. So, but yeah, man, and that's going to be, I mean, it's something that, again, this is a different situation, but I mean, we see in NASCAR itself where you have kind of now the manufacturer alliance that we'll see a lot of times where they don't want a Ford helping a Chevy or a Toyota. You got to stick with your manufacturer. Obviously, that's not the case tonight with the teams and everything, because a lot of guys will run different manufacturers, even if they're on the same team. So that one's not really an issue in that sense. But yeah, that's something to keep an eye on, though, where I think they'll try to help somebody else out more. That's not to say that they won't push a driver if it's kind of going to hurt their own teammate. But of course, they'll try to get lined up. And I feel like we've always heard the drivers talk about that too, where it's like, I wanted to help so-and-so, but it was my best result to try to push that other guy. And so I think that's what we're seeing here. But man, yeah, these guys are going after it here, Brandon. And again, it's going to possibly get down to when we get to that window, get to those pit stops. Again, that's probably another 15-ish or so laps for that fuel window. And I think we're going to see, again, it's going to be just a big fear of pitting by yourself. So I think you're going to see pretty much all of these 11 cars in this main pack will hit pit road together is my guess.
Yeah, and that's I think is going to be the strategy with these guys, right? As the numbers get thinner, is now it's kind of toned down. We've seen these guys just running double file and not really throwing the haymakers they were earlier in the race, and going to come down and hopefully not get ran over when these big packs come. As we talked about, these groups are a little bit bigger tonight with some of the teams, but one mistake up front, somebody lock up them front tires, and that can cause a bad night for everybody. As we seen with the first one, most of those cars was under the yellow. Pit road is under the yellow. That caution don't come out. It could be throw a real big wrench in this.
Yeah, and that's, again, we talk about it week in and week out, is the risk versus reward. Where do you want to race on this track? Do you want to be up front fighting for lead? I mean, you've seen how aggressive it's been here. But then also, if you're in the back of the pack, if something is to happen, you might check up to avoid the incident. Maybe a yellow does or does not come out, and that's going to throw a whole wrench into things as well. As you can see Gabe here, I think he said, I've been behind ever too long. I've been trying to push him. I'm just getting way too hot. So he's going to jump there in front of Bud Steele there. Cody is going to jump in the middle, take over that lead spot from the middle lane. So, yeah, so we'll kind of continue to see what the strategy and the progress is going to be right here. So now we've got Bud Steele, Gabe Butler, and again, not teammates, but I always kind of liken it to the Dale Jr., Tony Stewart thing. Not teammates or anything like that officially, but they get on really, really well. They race with each other for seasons on end. And so there's always that kind of that genuine mutual respect for one another. And so same thing. Does Bud want to win? Yes. But is he going to be able to help Gabe if he gets the opportunity? Of course. And so that's, again, that's where all that's going to come in. And what's also going to happen eventually, not yet, Brendan, but all those cars that have had the issues kind of spinning off onto pit road, and some of them had to unfortunately serve a penalty as well for, I think, for kind of unsafe entry, all that kind of silliness. But they're going to start to reel in those cars little by little. The first one will be Eric Laurie as he's about to enter turn one now. Then it'll be the 19 of Hayden Davis, and then it'll be Jim Brooks and I believe Justin Davis together as well. So it's going to bring the field back together sooner than later. So that's going to be another thing to keep an eye on, is once they get kind of the whole pack back assembled, what the strategy will be. As maybe a little hip check there, looked like between the 94 and the 88.
Yeah, and with those guys, that did serve the penalty, you're already going to be the lap down. You're, in my opinion, you got to commit to whatever these guys are doing, and hope for the caution later on. Is you never know when it might come. These guys are. Bud said, "Hey, we're going to still make this racy. Even though there's a few of us up here, I'm going to try this third lane and keep it exciting for the broadcast. Give us something to talk about." But as these guys do catch these guys, it is going to help. Like you said, the 071 is a teammate of the 88, so that will strengthen their numbers just a little bit as it's getting tight coming through this tri-oval.
Oh, man, again, yeah, a little bit of contact there, a little bit of side drafting, a little bit, like I said, again, a little bit of door banging there through. And again, it's almost like these side drafts are happening where they'd be trying to actually kind of come to the checkered here. And as I said, I'm not sure, maybe this is Gabe just trying to see if he can squeeze Maxwell to at least get a point there. So I'm not sure if he's led a lap yet in this one. But yeah, right now, again, big aggression. And again, what we talked about, Cody right now, again, he's, I believe, working with the TW guys at Maxwell and Company. But you can see it's not like he's rolling off a full groove off of the F16 or off the 88 car. He's doing what he can to help Gabe in that lane as well. So that's what I was talking about, is you're not going to see these guys just be like, no, I'm not pushing them. So, but man, yeah, I say Gabe is definitely working Maxwell hard here, trying to keep him honest. We got trouble in the back. 24 is going to go around again. Looks like this time it might be a single car spin. Everett's going to head towards the infield here, and I believe, yeah, he's going to head into pit road as well. So unfortunately, it's going to be the same situation as those other guys. And once again, it will still continue to stay green. Now Todd Merkel and Gary Huffines and ideally Doug Webb, if they can get back together. I don't know if Doug's going to be able to, but even before our pit stops, this field is just thinning little by little. I'm going to try to go back and see if I can catch where this happened with Everett so we can get a better look. And, oh, is that actually maybe a motor that popped there? I thought I saw a little bit of puff of smoke. It is. I believe Everett, you'll see here as he comes into the tri-oval, and you're going to see he kind of is looking down the inside, probably trying to get some air on that nose of that 24. And right there, you see the smoke, that quick puff of smoke. That's that engine blowing up. And at that point, it's like you put a parachute out, and Doug Webb gets into him a little bit, and then you can see possibly Todd Merkel as well as Gary Huffines. And unfortunately, I say at that point, there's nothing he can do. He has to go into pit road, get that fast repair back, and then get back on track here, which I think he's just about to do. And so, yeah, so we're back here live again, and talk about catching traffic. Eric Laurie, they caught him. I think they're going to leave him out hanging here. I don't think he's going to catch back up to that field, but I think he might be trying to pick up Doug Webb as well. We'll keep an eye on that. But, yeah, it's been an eventful one here early, Brendan.
Yeah, and looking up front here, the 55, Dean Wilkinson, he experienced the same thing on Friday night, and I did hear over the race chatter that Cody Nagels and Everett was talking before that happened, so I think they kind of knew that was coming. I think you nailed it when Everett went down to get that clear air. Was just a little too late, and it blew up on him. So two cars and 2 nights and 2 different sessions, so we brought it up, me and Boom, on Friday after that happened. So this is just something else these drivers got to think of as you're battling up here, as we've seen the 94 and the 88, the guy behind them. You got to pay attention to those temperatures, and that's one less thing you want to worry about as a playoff driver at speeds here at Talladega.
And I think you saw it right there with Bud Steele in the 6th car. It wasn't that he was trying to ditch Gabe. It's that he was like, I can't. My temps are too high. I got to jump up, get some clean air because I just saw what happened to Everett. I got to do what I can here. And so, unfortunately, that leaves Gabe there kind of out to dry here. And that's got that team lined up on the inside. And I think that's pretty much, I think that is the entire TW group in that Discord. So you've got the 94, you've got the 55, the 16 there, the 411, the 08, and the 2. So yeah, that is the entire TW Discord right now, all lined up together on the inside line. And so kind of tables turned, I think, is the best way to put it on that one, because I feel like usually we're used to the Bootnocker team having the numbers on some of the other guys. So right now, let's say it's gonna be the 88 that's gonna have to do the extra work to basically keep Max as close as he can as possible. And of course, coming up soon will be those pit stops in about 6-7 laps. It looks like, if that lap 23 number is accurate. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this is all going to unfold. We mentioned the 071. He did come back to pick up, I believe, Doug Webb. So those two are lined back up together. So the next car for the leaders to catch would be the 19 of Hayden Davis, as he's running off on his own, unfortunately, at the moment. So yeah, right now, say you can't really go any more than 2 wide. And I'd say, and I think if anything, Gabe at some point might have to give in and just go single file even. But you can see Maxwell there just rolling about a groove off, a little bit of contact there between 80 and 55, or sorry, 80 and 99. And again, I think Maxwell's trying to go a little bit off the bottom to let Dean kind of get some air on his nose. And yeah, say Gabe's trying to get what he can, but man, these guys, again, we're not even a third of the way through, and we've already seen a number of times now those close calls.
Yeah, and if it was anybody else, I would tell Maxwell, not to be, and them guys not to be as aggressive, but it's Gabe Butler. He's been in this position before. He's won championships here before. He knows how to get the job done, and what he's doing right now when you don't have any teammates is the best thing you can do as a driver. Hold that line to them as close as you can. One, you're going to use that side draft, which is going to keep you there. But not only that, but it keeps his pusher, like you said, pinned to the bottom. And that's why we see, like you said, Maxwell coming up to try to help Dean get a little bit of air. But Gabe is not. He's pinning him down there. He's really making these guys let off the throttle so the 55 can get some air. So that's a very good move. And just champions, the knowledge and the experience of being here. Gabe knows how to get it done. And as you can see, he's going to do his best to try to keep those 2 guys pinned down there. And if he can, that is going to give him the opportunity maybe to have the 6 push him in front of the 94.
And that's an amazing point there, Brandon, because you're right. If he leaves a lot of room, that's going to let Maxwell kind of lean himself off the bottom. Like you can see, he's still trying to give himself a little bit of room there. But yeah, the more Gabe can squeeze him down there, that's going to prevent Dean from being able to stay as close to that 94 as he's been able to. And that's going to get out, maybe give Gabe that chance to get that big push from Bud, just like you said. So yeah, so it's not just an aggression thing trying to, it will of course also in the same time slow that lane down because they can't drift up and keep momentum built up. But yeah, you're exactly right. Dean's going to have to be watching closer on his temperatures. So yeah, I mean, this is some really, really aggressive racing. Even right there, you see Dean there trying to cheat the apron just a teeny bit. Again, get a little bit of fresh air on that front nose. And yeah, this is some aggressive stuff. Even again with the field being as it is with the couple issues we had early without the yellows, this is very intriguing to see kind of how these guys are managing this race right now.
Yeah, and if Gabe goes on to finish good and then finish well in the championship at the end of next week, I think this is the point that we'll look back on, is this part right here, staying up front. Not only but he knows that Maxwell is battling, right? They're battling for this, who's going to lead the most lap. That's a bonus point. I don't remember. I think it was a point coming into the night what separated them two. So this right here, this is for a championship. It seems like, dang, that's pretty tight, aggressive racing. But if you want to win a championship, you got to be aggressive. And right now, Gabe has somewhat of a blessing not having any commitment to anybody when you got to be aggressive as he does right now. So no teammates up there for him, but him and Maxwell are just letting each other know they're there. They can wheel these race cars around here. So, but I think a good move here by the 55 and the 6, definitely giving them enough space to race the way they are.
I say, and yeah, if I'm in this pack right now, I say again, I know he's trapped a lap down, but I'm where Hayden Davis is because I'm like, man, this is terrifying. As again, there's a little bit of a bobble there, and again, we brought it up. We haven't really mentioned it recently. But again, it's not even just what these guys are doing here. It'll be the same thing. If the 6 gives the 88 a bump that just gets him a little bit unsettled, or vice versa from the 55 to the 94, that's going to really upset the car in the pits there, or in the pits, sorry, upset the car as they kind of go with those bump drafts. So, but yeah, with the mistake on words there with the pits, we're about probably a lap or two away here. So at some point, Gabe's going to probably have to say, all right, I got to get to the bottom here. And obviously, I've tried to get to the front, haven't been able to. So I think at some point he's going to have to say, all right, I'm going to unfortunately probably have to roll all the way behind back to Todd Merkel here. Hope that Hayden lets me in. But I think they're going to give it one last big charge here to see if maybe that 6 can clear the 88 off of the 94. But yeah, right now in the same thing, if I'm the 94 in that group, you got your competition pinned to the outside lane. Say, hey, he cannot pit from there. So let's go ahead and stay out, or let's stay out as long as we can and force him to lose those couple tenths of a second. So, yeah, it's really kind of getting interesting on the strategy side of things as well. But I believe it'll probably be this time. I think we'll start to see drivers hit pit road. So we'll wait and see. There, Gabe does get a lap lead, and I think that was everything right there. I think that was Gabe's first lap lead. He said, "All right, I got my lap lead. Let me get to the back." I would expect to see these guys probably hit pit road this time.
Yeah, and I think he's thinking, like you said, the same thing. Got that lap lead. Now let me make sure I get into this pit road and hit my marks and make sure I get out here with these guys, as he won't have any teammates in this group right here. And with that aggressive racing, I thought maybe we was going to see that old yellow flag. Restack these guys all back up. But now it's time to hit their marks as they've all single filed out, which normally means coming to pit road.
Yep, so we're going to see the whole train. Actually, no, we're going to see a couple stay out. Oh, Bob Fitzgerald's really hot on entry there. I think he's going to... Oh, I think he may have caught the cone there. That, unfortunately, might be a penalty for the 08. That could give one less driver in the main draft. So we'll keep an eye on that. But, of course, the two we'll be watching closely are the 94 and the 88. And then I'm also, again, nervous about the 55 and the 00s. They went pretty far there. Looks like so far I don't see any reversing going on. Looks like lefts for everybody in this pack. So we'll keep an eye and watch as they roll on out here in just one moment's time. And yeah, a little bobble on the throttle initially by the 94. Looks like everybody's going to come out together though. Gabe is going to be fighting with Tom Dixon. Looks like he'll just clear him. Now we go to this group, and this was my concern here. Dean's pretty much run this entire lap here without a draft. Now he's going to come in. This does get him to lap 25 or coming to 25, but I think this is going to be one of those things where he's going to lose too much time coming on into his in lap, if you will. And so yeah, so I if he had Gary right on him, I like it, but unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to work for them tonight. So we'll jump back here, look at the groups as they start to build steam back up. Get the 94 with the 16. Everett Lane is back out on track as well. So I was going to say, expect this right there for him to come back to the 88 car. And I say as everybody starts to build up momentum here. So it looks like they've got 6 of the leaders here back together. And then we will wait and see. So I'm watching Dean here. Dean's rolling out now. Gary is now as well, but you're going to see the field's about to swallow Gary up here, Brandon. So yeah, there's your answer for him. Dean, let's see. I don't think he's going to get there either. It might be close, but I just think it's going to be too much time lost here. I don't know if he's going to build up enough steam. Maybe, though, he can pull a friend here to drop back and pick him up. So we'll keep an eye on the intervals from that 55 to the field. So right now we have the top 6 all locked on together. We'll keep an eye on that 55, though.
Can we talk about the 24 for a second? Gabe, every interview says you're nothing without your teammates. The Everett Lane, the 24, had his mistake early. Comes the lap before the 88 and these guys do with Justin Davis in another car, sits in pit lane and waits for these guys to come so he can exit. He knows he's 3 laps down. His race is probably over. How can I pay the favor back? Sits there and waits for these guys to come down pit road, leaves with the 88, and now the 88 has somebody to help with a little bit of muscle here late. Coming out of that caution, pit stops, we only got 6 cars up here, so something is gonna maybe go a little bit better here for the 88 with the 24 joining.
Yeah, because and that as well, because again, looking at the pit stops, we had Bud Steele. Actually, he had a pit stop miscue. Maybe, I'm not sure if he overshot a stall or what, but obviously he lost the draft as well, along with Doug Webb. So those two did not have what they were looking for on the pit stop cycle. So, and then of course we mentioned the extra lap for Gary Huffines as well as Dean Wilkinson. And I've been watching Todd Merkel. He is trying for all he is worth here to kind of be that ladder for Dean Wilkinson to be able to pull Dean back in. And I'm going to watch lap time this time by, because this is going to be a pretty good telltale, as Maxwell ran a 51.52. Dean was 51.38, so a little quicker. And you can see Todd's rolled back a little further now. And so what's going to happen here is Dean's going to keep that momentum, give him a shot. Also now look at Bob Fitzgerald. Bob's rolling off the back a little bit of that 24 car. And again, this is kind of that ladder draft, I like to call it, where you kind of roll back, pick up that, give that guy the draft while you're still in the draft yourself. And so this is, again, amazing teamwork. We talked about what Everett did, and now you're seeing the exact same thing from these guys at TW with the 2 and the 08 working together to bring that 55 back into this race. So great job by them, and we for sure now have those 7 cars back all together. And now we've got and this is what we kind of figure we'll see here when the field spreads out, is kind of that train. So you got the top 7 all together. Gary Huffines, I don't know what's happening here. I feel like they don't want to follow each other, or I wonder if one of them doesn't want to lead, wants the other one to lead. Maybe kind of the fuel mileage situation strategy. I'm not sure, but yeah, right now this seems like an issue. I think this is Gary saying, "Hey, I want to get actually behind you, Hayden," and so that was an odd one there to look at. And then Bud Steele, unfortunately, he's kind of off solo on his side. Same thing for Doug Webb in that 714. Justin Davis, Jim Brooks, they are working together, and I believe they are the next pair to get caught by the leaders, because you see them coming through the start-finish line. Look back, there are the leaders right behind them. So another handful of laps, and we'll see those 2 get picked up there, which is crazy enough, Brandon. That's going to leave us just those 10 on the lead lap, and again, with a few of those guys running off on their own, I mean, we're going to have pretty much half this field a lap or more down here by the next pit stop, I have a feeling. So we're pretty soon going to have that race within a race that we always talk about.
Yeah, some of their them drunk virtual fans in turn 3 is saying there's a chicken on the track. So I think maybe we need to throw that yellow, make sure there ain't no chicken over there. But no, these guys up here, now this is where it comes in. Your patience, right? You got to have patience in this point. You don't want to start trying to get too eager too fast and make a mistake. So I think this is what some of these guys needed. They were up there smacking off each other and racing hard, and maybe this is what they need to calm down and give us a pretty exciting finish.
Yeah, and so the other thing that this does is with Gabe's, I think maybe again saying, you know what, it's not worth going tooth and nail full tilt for another 50 plus laps. Trying to see if I can kind of take as many laps as I can away from Maxwell. I think it's maybe one of those deals where it's like, okay, it's going to be too hard to fight all of them. So what I'm going to do is I got that one lap I needed, so at least that's the one bonus point, and kind of concede. Maxwell's probably going to get those two now at this point. And so now he's kind of in line. He's riding, probably saving a little bit of fuel. And then again, we'll see what the pit strategy is going to be. Because again, there's still 2 more stops to go here. Should be one around, let's say, lap, I don't know, 48-ish, I would say, somewhere in that window, which would make a pretty much a short splash to the end on the final stop. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Here's the, we'll talk about the field catching the 10 and the 51. The 51 is going to jump to the inside of the 10. This is never what the leaders want to see. They don't want to see these guys side by side. And actually, it looks like maybe it's just a swap draft there. Maybe the 51 got hot, but you'll see these guys. They'll jump top. Yep. Okay, there they go. Again, as a leader, you get very nervous when you start to see that mixed decision of one high, one low. But yeah, so now this would be in the situation now where Jim would actually be the one who's the first car one down. So watch for Justin. Can he be sneaky here? And maybe he tries to jump down behind Dean before Jim can. And no, it looks like they're going to play nicely. They're just make sure that they don't lose the draft here. So that's going to pick up those two. And then next up, very shortly, it's going to be Eric Laurie. Again, he was involved in that earlier incident that did not bring out the yellow at the very beginning. Also, unfortunately, was the retirement for Jim Duda. Hayden Davis also was caught up in that one. So that's where these guys are just, unfortunately. They're, like you said, their race is probably over at this point. So what they need to do now is they're going to do, just like you said, try to be those good teammates. I already see Justin Davis there. He's going to do a solid for Eric here and say, all right, let me give you some draft. That way you can kind of build that speed back up, make sure you don't lose the draft. And so, so we're going to see that situation, I think, just like you mentioned, Brandon. We're going to see all these guys, lap down or not, try to come in together, work with teammates. So that adds another helper for the Bootknocker team for 24 and the 88. And so it's pretty interesting how the strategy is going to wind up unfolding, as the next one in line is going to be Doug Webb. And I think it's the same thing for Doug. I think he's also with that Bootknocker group. So they're slowly but surely getting their guys back together, just not in the way they would have hoped for an overall result.
Yeah, and with all this happening now, Gael, if you're Justin Davis or Dean Wilkinson, who's not, first or second in points, and they're a little bit back, how long do you sit back here and say, I'm just gonna ride, I'm not gonna be aggressive? Because in my eyes, the longer you wait and you just let Maxwell, we're coming up on the halfway point, I would assume he's led most of these laps. How long do you just sit back? We've seen Gabe get his bonus point. Maxwell got a bonus point for leading. Probably going to get another one for most laps led. How long do you sit back there and wait and say, I'm just going to keep letting these guys get points and pull away?
Well, I think, it's like you said, I think at this point, pretty much these guys are pretty much kind of are realizing, okay, we're not getting the most laps led for Maxwell. So I think that was where we saw Gabe and Everett realize it. And I think Dean's in the same boat. And Dean, same thing, though. He went that one extra lap. He got that lap led. So he's like, all right, I got my bonus point. So now from here, I'm just going to kind of do what I do best and kind of run the strategy until it's time to go. So again, he did go one lap longer, probably burned a little bit of fuel to get back to those guys. But he should have a little bit more fuel in, which could mean a shorter final stop. And again, with everybody being off sequence, maybe he does try to do that one extra lap like we saw earlier. So that's, again, it's a risk versus reward for sure. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on what Dean's strategy is going to be right now. But yeah, I'm really curious as well. And then for Justin Davis, you mentioned on the point side, a little surprising for me on that one that maybe he wasn't more aggressive to try to jump around the 51 car to be that first car one down, because like I said, it could be a big pivotal point for him in the playoffs to try to gain as many spots as he can. But once again, though, it looks like he's going to be doing this time Doug Webb a solid. Same thing, jumping up top, going to give Doug some draft here before he lets him fall back in line as well. So, and again, though, this will be the lucky dog battle, is Doug Webb, Jim Brooks, Justin Davis. I'm curious to see, does Doug try to slide in front of Jim? No, he's not going to do that. So right now it will go back once more to the 51 here to be that first car one down.
Yeah, and that's just on the commentator on me. I forgot all about Dean getting that extra lap out there and getting that lead. So that explains why he's riding it out up there racing.
And so now we talk about the greedy driver versus the playoff driver. So the pit stop cycle, it's going to be, again, they're going to have to make a pit stop before lap 50. Lap 50 is the money lap. So if you're a Cody or somebody else that's working with these guys that maybe isn't in the playoff picture anymore, are you still going to try, like, if let's say Maxwell comes out in front, are you going to try to still maybe try to jump ahead of that 94, try to get that money lap and at least get a couple bucks in your wallet after this one? Or how do you approach that one?
I think if you're in the 94, you don't change up scheme. It looks like, he's had a plan. He was being aggressive early, and I think he keeps on that same plan. I don't worry about any money or anything like that right now. I'm just trying to stay up front. So you start trying to change things, and that's when you normally start to make mistakes. We've seen it all year long. In the 16 when he stayed up front and didn't have any problems in pits or got shuffled to the back. Good things happen for him. The 88, same thing. When you're normally the most aggressive driver and you stay out front, bad things normally don't happen to you. So if I'm the 94, I keep trying to do this and worry about the money when it's all done.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see. And it's also, of course, going to depend on how the pit stops go as well, where if Maxwell can continue getting his great pit stops as well, then it'll be kind of a non-issue. And I think that's something that we need to also recognize. Well, I always mention the pit lane time. And so we've talked about how good Maxwell's been in these past races. And so this last pit stop, he was right on with the best of them. He's a 36:48 total time. Cody was a 36:33. And so remember how far Gabe back was during his pit stop cycle. He had a 35:52. So again, about a second faster than Maxwell. And that's what was allowed him to be able to get from the back of that draft group up into that fourth spot in that pack. So a really, really good job by him to, same thing, kind of do what he needed to do to put himself in that good position. And I'm starting to see some help peek into the mix here, and it's going to be some of those boot knocker helpers. It's going to be Doug Webb is there, Eric Lorry's there. We'll see if Everett Lane's going to tag onto the back of them as well, and maybe we'll see, does Gabe jump up in front of them here? Maybe some strategy. Actually, no, Everett's going to roll back here and let these guys slot in here as we just cross the halfway point. So now you're starting to see the team organization come back in form here. So you've got the 88, the 714, the 07124 all together. This could be an interesting strategy here for me, Brandon, is what about pitting before you have to? Maybe even by a couple of laps, because there's going to be a third stop regardless. Short pit, and then try to basically like, all right, let's see who can be the best pushing team between us and the TW guys, and kind of do that instead of everybody kind of being lockstep. You think that's something these guys have considered?
Yeah, we're gonna have some come down here now, but I seen it right there. The 94 locks him up, gets it under control here. I think he's gonna be all right. It's gonna be a clean entry. Looks like we're gonna split this group in half, about 6 here, and then 6, I believe, stayed out. So, but to touch back on your point, yeah, I'm seeing the Team Bootnacker. They stayed out. They pulled the same strategy. We had the same type of race on Friday, and it wasn't this stop, but it was the last stop. They short pitted, and it was really looking like it was going to pan out for them. They had about four trucks, and they were really knocking off the time of the first group. So caution didn't really give us a chance to see how that turned out, but I think that's what we're going to see here, and that I think has a lot to why they're running an extra lap.
Yeah, and listen, I think this is actually a fair bit of a short pit, truthfully, because we're on lap number 40, and unless my math is way wrong, these guys are doing a little bit different here. And so here comes Gabe. He's going to hustle it on in there, and that looked close, but I think these guys are all going to have a nice, safe entry there. You see Everett there trimming the edge of the grass there just a teeny bit. It's also brought in the 51 and the 10, but if I'm not mistaken, I mean, Brandon, we're on lap 40. They went about 23, 24 last time, so they could have gone further. So I'm a little intrigued by this strategy here for these guys to pit when they did. And you can see there, these guys are all coming out pretty well organized. So I'm going to say both teams have done a great job getting in and out of pit road with the 88, along with these guys with the Bootnacker and Gabe Butler and company. So Cody's going to be the first to lead of this next pack to come out of pit road. Let's see where he comes out in relation, because you can see they're still starting to build up steam, I should say. Then Gary Huffines, he has yet to make his second stop here, so he's actually going to cycle around to the front. And yeah, so right now this actually could be great for Gabe, because he's going to steal some draft right now off that 00, off the 6, and just give him that little extra boost. And yeah, they're going to be all right lockstep with each other here as we get back to full song.
Yeah, I went back and took a peek. The 88 and them guys, it showed on mine. They came down lap 20 going on to lap 21. So if it's going to run 20 laps a piece here as they came down on lap 40, that will give some of these guys here in about 12 or so laps, if they want to do the short pit, that window is going to open. So this is, I think, like I said, the same type of race we had on Friday, and if anybody's going to do it with this group starting to get back together, I think it's Team Bootnacker. They really executed it really well on Friday, so they're right back up here. Now we see Maxwell Caldwell, Dean Wilkinson, Cody Nagels, all these guys right here trying to get organized.
Yeah, it's interesting there. As we saw Cody goodbye, he's jumped in front of Maxwell, and then yeah, Dean kind of almost looked like he moved over, said, yeah, I'm not going for this yet, so let me roll back out of it. So I'll be watching Cody. Is Cody going to take the top in momentum? He is. And I think Gabe's going to play the opposite game here, because, again, he's going to try to basically work the numbers. And, all right, if I can help the 19 to 6 and the 00, that's going to give more numbers to our lane than that second lane, which will have Cody and soon to be Maxwell in it. So, yeah, so I was curious if he's maybe going to push Cody, then jump to the outside lane, but he said, nope, I'm just going to do whatever the opposite is. I'm going to do it. And you see Everett there. He's going to split the two teammates there in the second lane. And, I mean, we've seen a lot of that where these guys are trying to work the lanes that they can and do what they can to maybe help another, help a teammate. So, yeah, I think there's going to be some tension still to brew at the end of this race here before it's all said and done.
Yeah, and that makes for some great racing. I like a little attitude in a driver. You know, it builds character, and it builds a good league. So, and I would definitely say Area 51 drivers we've heard in some interviews this year definitely has some character. So, but what's interesting to see here was I would like the 88 just decided I'm just going to stay down there, knowing these guys are going to have to come pit. So, Cody Nagels is, the way it looks, will take over the lead, and then Gabe will shuffle maybe to the back of that outside pack.
Yeah, so I would expect to see is like I said, so Bud Steele put on lap 23, Gary Huffines lap 24, so we're approaching 44 now. So I mean, again, based on the numbers, if all accurate, then it would be basically lap 46 to 48 window. And like I said, I felt like that's why it seemed early for me for these guys. And I kind of thought that maybe that would have been an opportunity for the guys that short pitted to maybe have the other team say, all right, let's go along here. Let's see if we can actually gap them where we kind of watch those lap times, but opted not to. So right now, though, Hayden Davis, he's just doing everything he can because, again, he wants to try to stay as few laps down as he possibly can in that 19 car. And then right now, the Lucky Dog battle is currently with Doug Webb, but it's pretty much going to be a crapshoot at the moment between he and Justin Davis in that number 10. Oh, as I see the 00 down to the 8, and he's going to hang on to there. That was a close call, though. But yeah, right now, Justin's got a good chunk of the lead here. Doug has a good chunk of the lead here, so he is safely as the first car one down, as it was the 10 is the next pack behind. But yeah, a little moment there for Gary Huffines. That's dropped him off that pack. So I think at this point, this might be one of those, all right, you know what? Cut my losses, hit pit road now before I lose even more time without the draft.
Yeah, and with the ability we have with the sim cams, he's coming to pit, but is there by any chance that we can hop on maybe Bud Steele? I peeked over and was looking. You can see here, I think, Gael, temperatures are a bigger problem than we think. I seen him, as you can see right here, when he was the second car in line coming out of the turns, he was maybe had a tire under the yellow, making sure he could get as much air as you can see right there. They're getting way below the car in front of them. So I think temperature is a massive problem. We can see the 19 move around quite a bit there, but these cars I think are struggling to stay cool here tonight.
Yeah, and I did hear drivers talk about that during practice, and yeah, unfortunately, say a thing that would be amazing for us on the broadcast side of things would be if we could actually see the gauges and say there you see the 19.6 they peel off for their second scheduled stop. But yeah, oh, Maxwell's gonna make a big move in front of Gabe. That was close, a little more contact, but it looks like they're gonna both hang on to it. But yeah, that was a catch my breath after that one. But yeah, no, it would be unfortunately. Yeah, we don't get to see what their temperatures are. But you're 100% right though in that situation is that these guys are definitely having to manage their temps a lot of time. Again, I mean these guys. This is what they do. It's their bread and butter, and they a lot of times they make it look easy. And so when you see some of these guys have these motor issues, just getting them overheated, it kind of tells you A, how hard they're pushing, then B, yeah, how just unforgiving that these motors can be. So right now, again, it's all kind of gotten a little bit crazy here. What I'm watching right now is I feel like I'm seeing the 88 either dropping back because he says I don't want to include myself in any potential harm's way, or he's opening himself up for a window here to try to get to that second lane in a little bit. So yeah, so that's gonna be the next question for that. But we are a few laps away from that magic lap 50 right now. Cody is safely going to be in the spot to try to snag that as well here. So we'll watch and see if anything changes. Right now his closest competition is that car behind him in the 94. Otherwise the outside lane of Dean Wilkinson will be the next in line for that. So right now still sit with 6 cars in this lead pack here. Unfortunately, one we did lose during that pit stop cycle is Bob Fitzgerald, as he's now back with that group with the 10 and the 51. But just lap times, unfortunately, aren't going the right way for them. They're about a second slower with just the 3 of them versus this bigger pack here. And again, this big pack being extremely aggressive tonight.
Yeah, definitely been aggressive in a tough break. Ooh, Everlane got a little wiggly there, but tough break. We seen the 19 of Hayden Davis. He unfortunately locked him up coming to pit road back there, and got a penalty there. So tough break for the 19 as his night gets a little bit worse. But these guys, ooh, starting to stack up a little bit. Got to really hang on to it.
And I saw what happened actually there as they kind of cut a little bit out. Is one of those deals where you're trying to roll out of it to let a teammate in. So I think they were trying to let Dean back in. And so they were slowing down there, and it was basically where that accordion kind of finds its way back to the next person. And that wound up being the 24 who checked up, then the 88 got into him, which then kind of pushed him back into the 411. So that was what we just saw there, was that accordion kind of found its way back to them. So what we've got now, though, is we're going to start lap number 50 this time by. So again, this is that money lap we were just talking about. And I don't see anybody making any crazy moves or anything like that, because again, they've got the organization that they want right now, because they've got the first 5 spots on track, so they're not going to risk themselves to put them in a tough spot. So I say this will be one of those ones where they say, you know what, the money, well, maybe I'm lying here, I was to say maybe the money isn't going to be worth it, but I think Dean's saying, you know, I might be okay to try, but nobody took with him, so he's going to jump back in line there in the 55. Doesn't want to fall back to the back of that pack there. So yeah, so unless we see any crazy moves off before, I think that money lap is going to go to Cody. As soon as I say that, Maxwell's going to say, you know what, I'm going to go for broke here. He's going to jump in. Cody is just getting completely ditched here out of 4.
Yeah, they just decided to go right on by Cody there and give Maxwell the bonus money and another lap led to his tally of the many laps he has led tonight. But one person I want to talk about that we haven't talked about much tonight, he's riding 5th right now. That's the 411 of Dixon. Friday night, he got real close, finished 2nd. So the momentum's hot right now in the 411, and he's had himself a pretty good race just riding right here in this pack, chugging along, and nothing better would be than have a full Area 51 weekend of no playoff drivers win. Les Levy stole the win on Friday, and maybe Tom can finish it off here this weekend and pick up a 2nd and a 1st. So good run so far by the 411.
Yes, and he's got the Brandon Halloween paint scheme special. So you always say those are worth a couple extra tenths as well. So he's even got the Happy Haunting on the what do you call it, the front windshield rail there. So yeah, so again, we love seeing the Halloween, the themed paint schemes. Those are always a blast. But you're right, though. I mean, Tom's had a quiet but a really good night so far. Started 5th, still running in that 5th spot. And yeah, I mean, it's just race by race, season by season. I say we've just seen him be just better and better in qualifying. And I think it's the same thing we said for Dean, where a lot of times I feel like Tom would kind of just ride in the back, try to stay out of trouble, and then kind of see where the chips fell. And I feel like this season, he and Dean, and maybe just TW as a whole, said, you know what? That hasn't been working for us. Let's be more aggressive. Let's see what we can do in this type of a situation. And I think it's been working. I think, and it's like you said, it's not just one thing. It's all the things where when you do that, you put yourself in position and say, okay, that worked. Okay, that didn't work. Now I know that I can or can't do that at the end of these races. So I think that's also a big part of that, as well as just kind of having that strategy and kind of having those experiences to make the right moves at the right time. So yeah, it's really cool to see. And I say we love seeing those guys in those positions to get the, I believe, I haven't done the stats, but I believe would be a first win for him in Area 51. And like you said, though, it's one of those deals. Just keep putting yourself in position. You're gonna get one. Just got to get those cards to turn right, and let's leave you unfortunately spoiler on Friday on that one.
Yeah, and me and Boom talked about it once we went off air. Just of how appreciative Tom was. He just appreciative of the league and the drivers, and how excited he was to be up in the booth, and that's why we do this right here. For the enjoyment and the excitement of it, and to bring a little bit more to this great racing that they give to us. Every weekend, twice a week, and some of these drivers do it 3 times a week with the IndyCar series. So. Hats off to these guys, but Bud still said, no more Ryan. I'm gonna try to get up here and work this outside lane.
Yeah, and then for Bud, yeah, I mean that's exactly the right call, because he's got Gary Huffines behind him, and this is their best case scenario here, because if Bud can push himself clear of Maxwell, that at the moment would actually put Gary. Oh, they couldn't quite clear. He was so close there. That would actually put Bud as the tail end of the lead lap, and Gary at the moment as the first car one down. And that would be huge for those guys, because if something were to happen, that would put both of them in it. And here you go. Here's the strategy. I was wondering if anybody would take it. And it's going to be Bootnar, because they're going to come in here right at the window opening. Looked like a nice aggressive pit stop by that whole team. So now the next job is they got to hit their pit stalls, I should say, clean. No reversing. Make sure everybody's got the right tires and fuel set up, and just maximize every point here. So we'll watch to see as they all hit their stalls. Eric is in clean. Little hesitation by the 714. He's able to get there on time, though. Just maybe backed it off a little too early there. So now we just want to see, do they all come out together? And I'm going to say yes. They should all be out pretty clean here. 88's going to cycle, I believe, ahead of the 24. And yeah, so they might have to breathe it just a tiny bit for the other two. But yeah, I think they're going to be in good spots. So now, do you think this is an instant response? And yep, there's your answer. It's going to be yes. They say, again, we're racing each other. They're going to do what each other does. And now it's the same thing. You can see Maxwell there. He knows he's got some room to play with, but won't affect the car. But I just noticed there, Brandon, look at the left rear there of that 94 car. It's a little crinkled. So he's caught a little bit of damage somewhere in all of this here tonight.
Yeah, that's just probably just some high-fiving going on, or was just getting a pretty strong push to keep that 94 out front. But looks like these 3 guys right here working together executed that pit entry, get some tires, get some, some great, some fuel here. The two of Todd Merkel said, I'm going to beat you all. Let's go.
Great stop by Todd there. The one I'm a little worried about, we'll see Cody let him cycle through here. But Dean Wilkinson had a little hiccup. Oh, I think he may have done, I'm not sure, but maybe 4 tires, because he had about a 12-second stop. And that's cost him the draft right now for these guys. You're going to see Gabe and company, they're going to swing right on by him here. We'll see if he can maybe get another lifeline like he had on the first run, but it's going to be close again with these guys during the pit stop cycle. So Gabe and company, they are on their way. Todd Merkel and company, they're going to continue to build up speed. They're going to steal all the draft they can here. And yeah, so Gabe's going to try to keep that momentum going to that 3rd lane here. And we'll see, can they clear in time before Cody gets that 94 fully wound up.
Yeah, good run there. Execution right there by the team Bootnacker. They got right out front now. And now with the position they're in, with coming a lap earlier, that put them, I think they came with 22 to go. So now if you're the 88, do you... Oh, little push. Happy there. I think he's going to be all right. But if you're the 88 and you guys came a lap earlier than these guys, do you, as we look back here?
Yeah, so take a look. I'm wondering if it was just that speed difference, and if it was, yeah, you can see there. And I'm wondering, I say it looks from where I'm sitting there, it's obviously hard to see perfectly, but I wonder if Cody was still kind of in the back of Maxwell, which then got Maxwell into the back of Doug. But amazing save, though, like you said, by Doug. And I think he's going to safely hold the draft there. but it's kind of shaking up the momentum of the draft. So you can see them, everybody's starting to reorganize basically. And as if by perfection here, you got pretty much a 4-on-4 here. You got the four drivers in the front with a TW kind of affiliation, and the 4 boot knockers there right behind with Gabe. But while they're all doing that, Bob said, I'm just going to go do my own thing here. And that's the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. He's going to stay out. He's been leading a couple laps here in that 08 car. Again, still does have to pitted around lap number 39. So he's still got one more to go here before everything's said and done for his final stop. And then a few others yet to pit will include, I believe, will include Bud Steele, as well as Justin Davis and Jim Brooks. These guys have not made their final scheduled stops yet. And then while I was doing all that, it looks like it was pretty busy up front there, Brandon.
Yeah, and we seen the 88 drop back there, and I thought that was maybe going to be their plan. Like I said, they came a lap earlier, so I didn't really know if he wanted to be out leading the race, having full throttle the whole time, but they must be comfortable enough that they can make it the whole way, because they hopped right up there to that third lane, and that's the longest way around this place. So definitely no fuel concerns for that team.
Yeah, no, I think at this point they're probably feeling pretty comfortable there. A little bit of a hiccup there on the connection there for the 714. But this is, again, I mean, there's still 17 to go, but this could put Gabe, well, as soon as I say that, I was going to say, oh, man, again, big bobble there. This could put Gabe in a really interesting spot here if he could keep Cody and then Maxwell pinned to the inside line, because in doing so, that won't allow Maxwell to get ahead of Cody to try to win that race, get those 5 bonus points. So that's going to be, I think, something right now. I think Maxwell may just be clear, but again, do you risk it and not have the draft, because you know you're going to get put 3? So this is interesting here as well. As you can see, again, every so often Cody's going to jump in front, but again, just the way these cars draft, and you get that bump. We saw what happened earlier to the 714. That bump just got him off-centered and really had to catch it. If I'm these guys, I mean, this is far from over. I mean, again, you're gonna be running hard, but it's just any small mistake, just you side draft a little bit too hard, you make just the smallest mistake, and it's gonna potentially affect a bunch of championship results here. So I mean, and again, we talked about those outside looking in. I mean, Dean Wilkinson unfortunately lost the draft. Oh man, Gabe somehow clears the 16 there just by maybe inches, but Dean lost the draft. But the way things are going here, Brandon, that may not be a bad thing, because I don't know if these guys can keep this up for another 14 laps.
Yeah, I don't think the caution flag's away just yet. These guys are definitely racing pretty hard and pretty good up here. And when this type of racing comes, you know, we've seen it all year. These guys give the door open and let them come down and let them make some of those moves. I think from here on out, those moves are going to be shut down, and when those moves get stopped, that's when a car goes around. So some of these guys still in it, and right now where Justin Davis is running, I know he's not up there with that group, but Bob Fitzgerald's the leader, and he's 1 lap down. So right now he is in position to get the lucky dog if anything in that big group up there happens. So if I'm Justin Davis, I'm maybe radioing to Bob, hey, can I get in front of you? Or maybe it's a good thing where he would be the one to get the lucky dog.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. And yeah, that's exactly it. We've been watching these guys. To say no offense to Bob, but just it feels like if there's something that happened, it's going to be here. And so now this is a whole nother kind of add a wrench to the pile here, Brandon, because you've got the 94 pushing the 88. You've got the 24 pushing the 16. So the teammates have been split up once more. And Maxwell's got to be careful, because he's going to want to try to find some way to push the 88 clear, so that way he can have a chance to get up to the top with Cody. But he can only be so aggressive on the pushes just because of the fact that he can't overheat that engine and pop that motor. And I'm looking at the lap times here, Brendan, and I kind of think that they're trying, but I think they're all they know each other's game here. So I think the pace is actually slowed down from these top 2. And as I say that, the 08 Bob Fitzgerald, he's in along with Justin Davis and Jim Brooks for their final stop. But I kind of think the pace is slowed down. And right there, I think Cody may be trying to back off a teeny bit to let Maxwell get to the outside. And Everett's having none of it, saying, no, you're not backing off here. I'm going to be pushing you forward here. We're going to try to get you. We want you to win this race, Cody. So I'm not going to stop pushing you. And then same thing for Gabe. I bet Gabe is probably not going full send here, trying to make sure that he does not allow himself to clear. They're going to put Maxwell in this. So this is some pretty big strategic racing, I think, going on right now. So yeah, this is this is pretty wild. Again, I'm speculating all this, but like I said, the pace of this race, these guys are down to the 5170s last time by. These guys, their best laps have been like at full song, have been probably in about the 50 point, probably about a full second quicker, basically. So there's definitely some pace not being shown right now in these cars, and it's not due to fuel saving.
Yeah, and that comes back to sometimes the old saying is the best defense is the best offense. And right now, Gabe and Everett are keeping two teammates from getting together. And not only that, but that's letting Gabe control the bottom. And so I don't know if you got all the technology over there to see where we stand with laps led. But, man, I really just think those points are going to be crucial. And as this race has went on, the 94 has not led as much as he was. So I don't know if we can figure that stats out, but that would be interesting to see where we stand. Like I said at the little bit ago, we came in just 1 point separating these two, and they both have got a lap led. So that the most laps led could prove to be pretty big tonight.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have a way of it doesn't tell me anything like that. It would be a really interesting thing to find out. But as Matt's peeking in over there, and Matt, so this is not fuel saving, this is strategery saving. So basically, Gabe and Cody are trying to get it in such a way that their teammates can get lined up with one another. Gabe's trying to keep the 94 from getting together with the 19 or with the 16, and the 16 is trying to find a way to get that 94 up with him. And so they've been slowing this race down because, again, it's one of those things where sometimes you don't want to just push and run away with this thing. So the strategy is wild on this one here, on this one, Matt. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't say. It sounds like there might be a way. I'll have to reach out to Matt because that would be good to know. I truthfully felt like Maxwell is pretty safe on the bonus point side of things. I don't think there was enough to get, again, with it being a 75 lap race. I felt like he led a good, at least 30 of it at some point or another. So we'll have to wait and see. And I say, obviously, still got another 10 to go here at the line. Right now, again, these are the top 5 are the lead lap cars. There are a number of drivers there trapped a lap down or more. But again, though, there's some guys that can get some big wins in this group here if anybody bobbles. I mean, again, you look at Tom Dixon, you look at Todd Merkel, they're right there in this whole thing. Do need to mention for Bud Steele, he's got locked on with Dean Wilkinson, Gary Huffine, so they've got the 3 of them. Right now, they are about to enter turn 3, where the leaders here are coming through the trial. So, yeah, right now this is, again, I don't know if they can keep this strategy up here for another 6 laps, Brandon, or sorry, another 9 laps, because yeah, this is really, really interesting right now. Like I said, Maxwell's got to be smart here. He's gonna want to try to keep Gabe as far forward as he possibly can. There's Gabe has a big moment there, almost again a big bump there, gets the 88 unsettled, but yeah, Maxwell's got to keep those temperatures in check. Again, you can't let, you got to watch the big picture. And again, if he's led the most laps, oh man, again, a little bump there unsettles the 88 there. This is very dicey, Brandon.
Yeah, these guys are willing these race cars, and the 88 definitely has his hands full. And if you're these guys, Cody, Maxwell, like if you start to have a plan, if you're the 16, maybe you and the 94 let up a little bit at the same time, maybe let the 16 come down and get around the 24. What do you do in this point? Like, you're kind of stuck and can't really move. And this is where I think we talked about patience earlier. I think patience is starting to go out the window. We're talking about a championship, and I start to maybe try to figure something out how we can get around these guys.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. And the patience is probably running very thin right now. I think, yeah, as I say that, everybody's getting a little antsy, even more so now. And I think that's where you're going to see the pushes get more aggressive. This is, oh my goodness, these guys are near wrecking there through 3 and 4. Somehow both of them hang on once more. That's going to, again, it's going to change the momentum here. Cody's going to try to clear Gabe. Gabe's not going to try to let him, but he's going to get the job done. So now we have to wait and see. because you can see Everett's going to go ahead and stay up top there. Maxwell's going to come back to the inside line. And so now we're kind of, again, now we are lined back up again, and it's now that 4 and 14 battle we talked about. But the big difference is it's the 88 ahead of the it's the 16 ahead of the 94, with the 88 leading the other group. So it would be right now, as it runs, even if Cody wins, it would be Gabe netting the position ahead of Maxwell's. Again, a little bit of a bump there through the straightaway, just unsettling these cars here. But man, this again, like, it's just only a matter of time, I feel like, before, unfortunately, just something's gonna happen.
Yeah, and if you're the 94, you definitely don't have a problem pushing the 16 to a win, as long as the 88 don't get it. The points would still be all right, and if he's comfortable and he knows he's led a bunch of laps, he could still come out ahead of the 88. So whatever you got to do, you got to make sure the 88 does not win this race, and they're definitely making Team Bootnaka sweat a little bit, as they're going to get maybe a couple cars here to add to the pack, as some guys hitting their final pit stop. But if you're the 94, you got to do whatever you can to keep that 16 out front right now.
Yeah, we'll see if Bud and Gary can hang on. Oh, we got trouble. One popped the motor there. A couple go around. Caution will now come out. And now the question is, which motor blew there? Was it Maxwell or was it another car? Because now if it's him, he's got to make sure he can limp this thing back to pit road. You can see Everett's under power. I don't think that 94, or is it Todd Merkel?
I think the 2 might be waiting for the 94.
Yep.
I think he was waiting to push him. This is teamwork. You need teammates at these tracks, as the 88 always says.
Loses the motor there, Brandon. And so this is going to put us right on the edge of the green-white checkered window here. And so we'll see, hopefully they can get this thing pushed far enough through, because, yeah, if not, that's a tow for the 94. I don't think he's going to be able to limp that thing far enough along. And again, I mean, we just felt like it was going to pop off eventually. And so, yeah, you see Todd there's going to do what he can to help Max, and then he's going to jump back up. So let's go back here. We're going to try to take another look at this when it all occurred. And again, you can see the 94. He's just completely locked on here. And then as he comes down here, you can see he's trying to get, and then, yeah, so what happens, there's motor pops, and then Tom Dixon, there's nothing he can do. And so that gets him into the rear of the 24. And then you see Doug Webb gets a piece of it, as well as Eric Laurie. But look at Tom Dixon. Even with that, though, he is wheeling that car. I'm watching Bud Steele as well. Bud just sneaks through there. That could be, as I believe Doug was involved, that could actually be Bud Steele getting back on the lead lap. As then, again, you can see the 2 and the other guys there involved in the background. So let's come back live here, Brandon, because I want to watch. Because I don't believe they've taken the official. This will be where the pit road's open, and this is the next part, is these guys, did they bring enough fuel in for the end of this race here? So I think you pit here just to make sure you have the green white checkered, and nobody's listening to me. They're saying, no, we're all pitting, or sorry, we're all staying out, I should say. So now I'm going to focus on that 6 of Bud Steele, and that should, if I'm not mistaken, put that 6 back on the lead lap here, which will put 7 cars to that. I can tell you Maxwell has made it to pit road and is back out, kept his lead lap. So we're watching, see if Bud's rolling, and yes, he is. So put the 6 car back on the lead lap there. So Bud's back in the mix. So we'll have to wait for everything to cycle around here. But again, not a huge car count, but what is likely to happen here on this one, Brandon, is for Maxwell with the green-white checkered, he is going to wind up on the tail end of the lead lap because of entering a closed pit. Again, I mean, that's all he can do at that point. There's no choice. So even though he's going to be running a net 5th, he's likely going to be restarting in about 12th or 13th position. So he's going to have to, unfortunately, again, you never want this, but he's going to have to hope for a quick yellow to have a second green-white checkered attempt to put him back up where he would be normally on a restart. So this is going to get wild. We're going to catch a breath, and we'll be right back on the one to go. Stay tuned.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, Brandon. Breath has been taken. There was still some excitement under the yellow. We won't go back and look at it because nothing happened. But it's exactly what we said, though. I mean, I'm looking at the field here, and so Bud Steele's going to be the absolute tail end of the lead lap because he got the wave round. But then Maxwell entering a closed pit, he is all the way back there with them. So, yeah. So basically, he's restarting about 14th, 15th, and so. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm also still shocked that nobody else hit pit road other than those that were involved in the incident. I thought fuel would be way scarier than maybe it is for some of these guys. So now it's just back to the race here for the win and max points. We'll see what Max can do on this restart. He's of course going to try to get what he can, but his next car for position is Todd Merkel, who's multiple rows ahead. So Gabe's going to have Dean Wilkinson behind him. We know those two work extremely well together. Cody Nagels has Tom Dixon. We talked about Tom's runner-up on Friday night. He's just been doing such a great job in these recent races as well this season. And then, we'll have to wait and see as we're going to get attempt number 1 here, Green White Checkered TV. As they are going to hit the restart zone. Cody Nagels, Gabe Butler here. We'll see what they got for us here, Brandon.
Yeah, going to have a good restart, and if any of these guys maybe want a chance at beating these heavy hitters, they're going to need a caution because I think just like you said, they're close, really close on fuel. As you can see, immediately they got the single file here. Cody Nagels will lead them through 2. Now what's the 88 and the 411s playing as they catch the 16?
I think if you're Gabe right now, I think it looks like he's planning just kind of staying with the 16 here, maybe wait. Don't do anything crazy. Wait till the final lap. Maybe just literally come out of 4 and see if he can do something. But we'll watch, though, because here's Tom Dixon. He's going to try to jump to the top here with help from Todd Merkel. I'm looking Dean Wilkinson's going to take that top side, too. So, as I said, that caution is back out. Looking towards, it's going to be Eric Laurie involved in this one. So that was exactly what we had just talked about, that if a quick yellow comes out, that could be exactly what Maxwell needs to get back in the thick of this one. And then we'll see who was ahead at the time of yellow. I believe it'll be Gary Huffines in the 00. So we'll put him back into that spot. So let's go back here. We'll focus on Eric here. And it's looking... got some 3 wide and going on towards the back here. And he had 94 in the 071 again. I mean, Maxwell's going to try to get up there as fast as he can. And just... let's say, obviously, don't know exactly how it leads up to that, but yeah, I mean, that's obviously not the ideal situation there. So that's going to bring the yellow back out for that one. Eric hopefully has a faster pair remaining, 'cause I think that may have been a pretty straight shot on the nose. Yeah, I think that's motor damaged on his car as well. So now, Brandon, let's go back to fuel. How are we feeling now? Because you're going to get both of these attempts on this one.
Yeah, if I'm those guys up front, I'm a little bit nervous, and that really put a fork in my plans. I think he pitted with that 88 group, the 411. Man, I had um, some I had high hopes for him, as you could say, but I went and took a look back at it from another angle of that between the 94 and the 071, and a little bit of contact before then, but it looks like Netcoat grabbed him. If you look at the chopper view, so tough break there for those guys, but. This could be what some of these guys needed in the back, make this 88 and these guys up front here think with this fuel.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see if there's any takers this go around, or maybe it was early enough of a yellow for them to say, okay, I can save that extra lap. So we're going to be watching and see, are there any takers? Gabe's peeking like he might. Nope, no takers there. And once again, just as I say, either I've got bad fuel mileage or I'm not sure what, but Dean Wilkinson said, yep, I'm going to go, or sorry, Bud Steele said, yep, I'm going to go ahead and hop on in here. Looks like Everett Lane is also coming in along with Eric Laurie. Eric obviously would make sense for us. We're going to jump over to Gary Huffines because we should see him swing right on the field here to get his lap back, which will bring us back to 8 cars on the lead lap. And, oh man, again, looking at the big picture on the championship side of things, the next car that would have been eligible is Justin Davis in the 10 car, 4th in points.
Yeah, tough break there for the 10, but I think we still got another one after this. Cautions breed cautions. I'm not saying that caution flag's away yet. And I'll tell you what, Gael, the YouTube chat is rocking. All right, and for everybody in there, we got, I think, over 12 people in there right now. I think we already got a couple picks down there, but I think they should drop their picks right now. We're going to have another shot at this green-white checkered, and go down there and drop your picks on who you think is going to win this race.
Yes, I saw the Paleshi pick. Also great to see you, Andrew. Hope you are doing well, sir. Matt's betting on himself to win this race tonight. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure, Brandon, but I believe that that previous restart was green white checker number 1. So this would be second attempt. So we got to bring up that possibility now too, as well, where if there's another yellow that comes out now from here, that would then basically freeze the race. So basically, again, the way it works is if they take the white, at that point it's official race and they would race it to the checkered. If a yellow comes out before they get to the white flag, field's frozen at the time of the yellow, and that would be the finishing result. So that's going to be the next thing to keep an eye out for here on this one, is going to be if and when. And yeah, so now we're going to see where everybody lines up. It's going to be pretty much Gabe versus the TW guys here on this restart. You'll have Cody on the inside, Gabe to his outside, Tom Dixon, Todd Merkel on row 2, Dean Wilkinson, Maxwell Caldwell in row number 3. And then also a beneficiary of all this is going to be Bud Steele, because you see where he is all the way in the back of the field. He's going to roll up all the way to row number 4 here on this restart. And so he'll be able to be right in the thick of this one as well. So yeah, again, this might be one of those things where a couple guys focused solely on one another. Maybe we see it. Tom Dixon, Todd Merkel, Bud Steele. Maybe they kind of find their way through the chaos and the craziness and net themselves a win here on this one. So, and do these guys have enough fuel? Again, I won't name names, but there was fuel dramas in the NASCAR Cup race today as well. So, yeah, I'm gonna say we'll see if that comes to a potential here as well.
Yeah, not only did he run out of gas, but I was shockingly, the crowd went crazy when he ran out of gas. But yeah, that's definitely got to be on some of these guys' minds. They've been out there for quite a while. And we've seen some guys, I think you brought it up earlier in the race, max it at 23 laps. They're definitely past that. So, but one hungry driver, he's starting third on the outside lane now. That's that 94, bounced back. Went in there and got that fast repair after the guy in front of him made sure he made it to pit road. So I'm pretty sure them two guys right there, they got a plan to get around this 88.
Yeah, I'll say let's see what the strategy is going to be. And again, I mean, we'll see how they do this. And because again, I mean, they're going to try to help Max as well as they possibly can, of course. But obviously, like I said, I don't see them completely rolling over for and kind of just like, okay, we're just not going to push the 88 at all, because obviously I feel like that. Well, again, I don't know. It's hard to say in these championship races. Things get a little crazy at times, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see because he's in the same lane as Maxwell, being Gabe Butler there. So it's going to be very intriguing to see who goes where. And first, of course, they got to get through the gears clean. And this, like I said, I believe this is the final attempt. So again, they got to get to that white flag first before they can race it to the finish and see who's going to come home first. So we'll see who can get through the gears first, and they're going to have to try to keep it clean before there. Otherwise, like I said, the field will be frozen. That would be the finishing result. So last attempt here, if I'm not mistaken here, Brandon, it's going to be Cody, Gabe front row. Row 2, you got Tom Dixon, Todd Merkel. Then you got Dean Wilkinson and Maxwell Caldwell. Bud Steele there in that 7th spot. And then Gary Huffines also on the lead lap tail end here as they get to that restart zone. And you see Gabe is creeping. We are going big checkup on them there. You can see the accordion happen, but we stay, everybody's pointing straight. We stay green here as we got 2 to go.
Yeah, Cody Nagels leads them in here to turn 1, followed by the 88 of Gabe Butler. And does Gabe Butler have the same thing happen to him as he did on Friday night? 2 non-playoff drivers come in and took away the top 1 and 2 spot from him, and he's trapped here on the outside lane as now as Tom Dixon is going to have control of the bottom lane as the 16 of Cody Nagels jumps to the outside. Dean Wilkinson really giving a 411 a push as he is now going to take over the lead spot as Cody Nagels and that team controls not only the inside lane but the outside lane also.
Yep, and so this is where we'll see probably what we saw earlier. Gabe's going to try to push Cody for all he's worth. Now he's getting some help. Everett Lane started to jump up into that mix. So this is now where you have to make a decision. Do you go third lane or do you try to push that outside car? And I think right now their best bet is to try to push Cody as best he can, because right now Gabe, you can see he's still a net spot ahead of of Maxwell in that 94. So I think right now you're doing exactly what you do right here. You push that 16 for all he's worth within reason. Got to still watch those temperatures. So Gabe's got to make sure if he starts seeing anything flash, then he's got to be careful. So right now you see, big wobbles there from that inside row. That's going to slow momentum down a little bit. But again, though, this is white flag lap, so from here it is to the finish. Like I said, can Gabe keep that temperature in check? You see Cody, he's got a nose ahead. A little connection hiccup for Dean there as well. That's going to, again, Maxwell probably to back off to avoid any net code with him. Can Gabe do a move here out of 4? Let's wait and see.
Yeah, if the 55 is really going to have to push the 411 if he's going to want to have a chance right now, it's the 16. He's going to block. He's going to hang on to it. We've seen him will it all year long. Cody Nagels has willed it, and he's willed it to a win. Wow.
Somehow holds on to that car at the end. Is going to get the win, and it will be Gabe Butler still bringing it home in second. We'll go back. We'll watch that finish, but Gabe's going to come home second. Tom Dixon, I think sideways, if not backwards, going to grab third. And then Maxwell Caldwell 4th, and Dean Wilkinson 5th, Todd Merkel in 6th, and then Bud Steele, Gary Huffines. But let's go back at this one again here, because I say Gabe made the right move. Cody threw the block, a little bit of contact there. You can see right there, there's the move. Cody's going to try to block it. Gabe's got a nose there at that point. And then it's just everybody's just trying to hang on. Again, you can see just the wheels of that 16. We'll watch this closer from his onboard as well. And then I'll say, not to be outdone, you see Gabe now, he's having to try to saw on the wheel there to try to do what he can. And I'm actually, look at Maxwell and Dean here. Those cars are inside one another there for a moment with that connection hiccup. And then here's the 411 of Tom Dixon. He's going to slide across the line. And so basically, Tom's going to slide across in front of Maxwell to grab that 3rd spot. But now we're going to do the good hands award, I guess you can say. So watch Cody here. So right there, he's going to go for the block. There's the contact. Now watch the wheel all the way to the right, back all the way left, back all the way right. I mean, that is complete full lock on that number 16 car. I do not know how these guys saved these cars. And then again, not to be outdone, we'll hop on here with the 88. Here's Gabe. He's going to make the move, looking to the inside. Cody sees it, and you can see again just a little bit of contact there. And then same thing. So here's Cody. He's going to start to try to saw the wheel. And then Gabe right here, he's going to get contact from behind. And so here goes Gabe full to the right. Starts to center it back out there. He's got to come back just a little to the left. Maybe not as wild as Cody's was, but able to hold on to that car and still bring that thing home in second place. But we knew it was going to be wild and insane. Again, just to add to the craziness there at the finish, the 24 and the 88 getting together, and then you can see pretty much the rest of the field all finding each other there as well up on the top side. So what a wild one here tonight, Brandon. Like I said, it was crazy early, kind of settled in for a little bit, and then just full crazy at the end here as well.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if anybody really won the race, that's the 94 of Maxwell Caldwell. He blew his engine there. With only a few laps to go, Cody Nagels steals the win away from Gabe, so that stopped him. And then I believe he brought it home in a top 5. So Cody Nagels getting the win. But really, if you're Maxwell Caldwell, you're definitely happy with how the race finished instead of how it was going. But Cody Nagels, man, this is like 7 races in a row where this guy just cars sideways and he saves it. It's incredible.
He's got some insane hands in that car, and as I know, and we've seen it time and time again. We always tease them that it's like you're just trying to do these crazy saves, but yeah, no, it's really impressive what he's able to do to hang on to these things. So what we got to do though is we got to chat with some drivers here, and we're gonna kick it off with our 3rd place finisher, and that is gonna be the 411 of Tom Dixon. And Brandon, that is, if I'm not mistaken, like you said, that is 2 races in a row podium. So we're going to grab Tom on in here. So it was 2nd on Friday, 3rd here tonight. Tom, I wouldn't say it was a quiet night for you. Obviously, I say no shot against you, but we're having to focus on that Gabe and Maxwell fella. I'm sure you guys had plenty of communications through the race, but I mean, everything perfectly tonight. The pit stops, everything staying with the team. I mean, you did everything right there. And at one point, it looks like you got a really good chance to get either another runner up or even the win here. But I mean, how tense was it tonight? Because I mean, I was telling Brandon, like the beginning of the race, I mean, the side drafting, you kind of squeezing, the lanes are being squeezed like it's 5 to go, not lap 5. I mean, how tense were you tonight?
I think I was tense for how many laps do we go? 80? Oh man. Yeah, at the end there, when I saw that, I had a chance, and that yellow came out, and I went, darn. And I'm glad to get a P3, but too much drama tonight. Too much drama. But still, I love racing here, and I want to keep doing it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it was a handful tonight, and I know not where you really want to be in the standings, so call it. But I tell you what, these last couple of weeks you've been on top of it, and that 411, I'm telling you what, looks like it's gonna be a car to watch next season. And heading into this next race, with this momentum that you do have, how do you approach it? You looking to stay out of the way, or are you gonna maybe try to go steal one from these guys?
Well, I'd like to steal one and try to stay out of the way at the same time, because I don't want to get in the middle and steal it from somebody that deserves it. But yeah, I never get in a race where I don't want to win it.
Nope, I say, and that's exactly, and obviously, like I said, that makes the situations tricky. Where when you've got, like I said, you don't want to play an outcome in championship. At the same time, I mean, you've got your own race to run as well, and of course, I mean, like I said, I mean, a runner up on Friday, podium here again, 3rd tonight. So I mean, I mean, is it hard for you to balance that, or do you at times try to say, you know what, I'm just gonna do my race and just try to do what I can and not worry about like, oh hey, I need to back out to let somebody in to help them for a point. I mean, how do you treat that? Because I mean, that's a really awkward spot to be in, where you want to help people, of course, but like I said, you also you're here for yourself and to enjoy yourself and do the best you can. I mean, is that something that you have to kind of balance in any way, or do you just try to kind of tune that out?
You know what? It's like walking a line, and I do want to help people that I'm racing with, but I still want to win. So it does get tough, and I just don't want to wreck anybody, don't want to get in anybody's way, which I think I did tonight. I mean, I'm not going to throw blocks on people and stuff like that. So, but I'm going to race hard.
No, and I say from where I was sitting, I think I was watching everything you did looked perfect to me. Like you said, you did what you needed to. You made some great pushes. You put yourself in a great spot there at the end to have a chance. Just didn't quite get the push you needed to be able to kind of lead that inside line. Unfortunately, it looked like Dean maybe had a little bit of an internet hiccup, which kind of I think slowed that momentum down there as well. But again, just a great job tonight, Tom. And like I mean, we've been talking about it during the broadcast too. It just feels like this season, like you've just been getting better and better and better. And the one thing I was mentioning to Brandon, I feel like you and Dean have both done this season is you're not riding in the back anymore and waiting till the end to go. You're qualifying up front, you're racing up front. Do you attribute some of that to it, or is that just maybe kind of a coincidence, do you feel like?
No, I think so. I mean, Dean always rode in the back, and he's my teammate, and I figured, well, I'll be back there with him. And then Dean's the one that said, no, I'm starting to run up front, which I wanted to do anyway. And so if I can get up there and run, I'm going to do my best to do it. And as long as I can qualify in the top 10, which I usually can do, I think it puts me in a good position to stay up front and run and try to be competitive.
Well, you did exactly that. Qualified fifth tonight and 2 spots gained to third. So yeah, so I'll say we'll be back here in 1 week's time, obviously as well. So you'll be familiar with everything. I'm sure it'll be way calmer than tonight, obviously. But no, great job tonight, Tom. Before we let you go, though, always got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that podium this evening?
Well, definitely want to shout out to Area 51 and you, Gael, and Jim, and Charles is not here, but he's still kind of he's in our thoughts, and he's with us racing. Yeah, I want to thank all the drivers, and for the most part, it's clean most of the time. Had a few things tonight that questionable, but yeah. Also want to give a shout out to all my teammates. And again, Charles is not here, but I want to give a big shout out to Charles because he puts a lot of work into this too, I know. And you guys are great. I mean, I love Area 51. You guys up in the booth are just terrific. And yeah, hopefully my wheelbase won't break down next year and next season, and I'll be able to be a little more competitive, hopefully.
Well, we'll work on that during the off season. Make sure we get you all set and working. Because yeah, unfortunately, we have seen hardware failure from time to time catch some guys out. But yeah, we definitely as much as we can get you on the track, that's what we want, Tom. So yeah, great job tonight. It was a lot of fun watching us. I'm bummed I didn't get to see the runner up on Friday night, but yeah, I'd say looking forward to see what you guys got or what you got for these guys in next week's races.
Thank you so much, Gail. I appreciate it very much, and feel very fortunate I can come in here and race with these guys. So appreciate it very much.
All right. Good job again tonight. Look forward to seeing you next week, sir.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
You too, Tom. Oh, no, I moved the wrong driver. All right, let's get Brendan back over here. Sorry, Brendan. I'm kicking you out of channels. I apologize for that. I say we were way off order there, and I apologize for that too. Before things get awkward here, we did not. He mentioned to me we didn't go over our final results, so let's do that real quick here. And so it is going to be Cody Nagels over Gabe Butler, Tom Dixon there third, Maxwell Caldwell, Dean Wilkinson, and then you've got Todd Merkel, Bud Steele, Gary Huffines, our final lead lap finisher. Then you've got Justin Davis, Doug Webb, Jim Brooks, Bob Fitzgerald, 1 down. Then Everett Lane, the 3 down, Eric Laurie, 4. And then, unfortunately, early nights for Hayden Davis as well as Jim Duda, who we'd mentioned earlier. All right, Brandon. Now we go back and we chat with some more fellas. And I say, I'm pushing buttons at the wrong time, and I'm dragging people around, and I'm so. You got the right guy in line here, and that is going to be the 88 of Gabe Butler getting the second spot here tonight. Gabe, I don't know if I've seen a race that intense in a long time from the drop of the green. I mean, obviously there's a lot on the line, but and you've been in a lot of championship races. But I mean, does this feel like it was one of those ones where it just everything seemed even more to you ramped up?
Yeah, it was definitely ramped up tonight. I mean, it was very intense. I mean, a lot of aggressive driving from all of us, and I mean, it was a fun race for the most part. Just disappointing there at the end, in my opinion. That was just kind of a late block, and by Cody. But I mean, it is what it is. It's part of super speedway racing. Sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's not. And but I mean, I'm sure it was pretty exciting to watch on the broadcast.
Yeah, you ain't lying. I wish they all were like this. This kept us on our toes for especially the end of it. But I really want to hit on the point. How close were you guys on fuel? Gael brought it up. You guys pit where I think was the first group to pit, and then you guys never came down pit road again, and you stretched it pretty far there. Were you starting to get a little bit nervous as those cautions started to come out?
No, we were fine for the first green white checker, but it was going to be super close for the second one. I'm not sure if we would have had enough for the second one. I think if another green white checker came out, we would have had to pit. But yeah, the fuel kind of went out the window there that last 2 laps. We just kind of went hell for leather and tried to get what we could out of it. So ended up getting lucky getting a P2. All things considered, because I was kind of surrounded there in the restart, but Everett somehow was able to get back up to me, and I figured I'd try and push Cody as hard as I could and maybe get him clear. I think something happened to Dean there on the last lap.
Yeah,
And
he had a little connection hiccup or something.
Is that what it was? Yeah, and I thought about going on the high side, but I think Cody would have drifted up, and that would have probably gave the bottom line a bigger run, so we kind of would have lost out either way. So the only option was to get Cody pushed clear, and with that hiccup by Dean, it created that opening, and I came down and went for it. And fortunately, we had contact, but is what it is.
Yeah, I'd say so. And then, yeah, so on Brandon's part on that one, we're wondering what the fuel mileage was, because I believe it was the second pit stop. So is that then you guys kind of just running the fuel backwards, almost like the road course style? Because when you guys came in, I was honestly super confused. I was like, well, no, they could have gone X number of laps further, and then they didn't. So then I started thinking my fuel mileage calculations were wrong so we said like 23, 24-ish. I mean, was that just maybe again trying to do something different in that sense, or what was the strategy there?
No, we were just responding to Caldwell's team pitting.
Okay.
They pitted early.
Did you guys have? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was gonna ask, did you have any thoughts of trying to maybe see let's see kind of what our tandem draft can do compared to theirs, or was it just one of those like, let's not even worry about it, let's just kind of make sure we're in the same real estate, and then kind of just see how it shakes out at the end?
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure we're in the same real estate, because we wouldn't know like how good their pit was if they came out together, if they had a screw up or not. So we decided, after we saw them pitting, well, listen, we'll just go to the next lap and come out together, and we'll hook up. But we went 1 lap more, so we would have had to pit again, obviously. So on that last lap, we would have had to take a little bit less fuel, which we did. But then the cautions came out, so it kind of went all haywire.
Yeah. So then the final thing I have before letting you go, though, have you ever had to fight as hard to lead a lap in your career?
Oh man, that was brutal. I mean, I was pinching the hell out of those guys, and we were just door banging back and forth and going at each other over comms and stuff like that. And I'm like, my God, man, what I got to do? And finally, Bud Everett just ended up getting too hot. He just couldn't maintain. He did his best, but Bud came out of nowhere and finally got me up there, and then I bailed immediately. But I think part of the problem too was I noticed Max's car was drifting quite a bit in the corners, and not his driving, but I think it was more his internet than anything else. And it felt like he was just coming up and dooring me, which, when your car drifts, whether it's you or the internet, it's still contact. So we were barking at each other back and forth, so it was kind of funny, but it was intense. But it wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now, just kind of looking back at it.
Well, I say that those things will make Brandon smile very big because I say he loves the intensity stuff. I say if when you go back and listen, I say you'll hear Tom's interview, and I say I'm definitely a Tom on that side of things where I want to stay out of the drama and just hope for a good result for myself and not be involved in anything. But like I said, I know Brandon, you're grinning from ear to ear right now with everything that's what's going on tonight.
Yeah, normally I don't say a whole bunch myself in race, but I was just getting intense in it. And I mean, it's just intense racing and it brings out the emotions in you. So, you kind of let it go after an hour or so after it's all calmed down and all said and done. But during the intensity or the heat of the moment, you kind of spout off a little bit. And me, I don't really off over comms a whole bunch. And, we were going back and forth all the race. So, I mean, it was probably fun to broadcast.
Well, like I said, I'm sure Brandon was loving every minute of it. But man, before we let you go, let you cool down with the Guinness, we got to give you the floor as always for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight, sir.
Yeah, huge shout out to the teammates again. They came to the rescue. Everett, Doug, and Eric. Eric and Doug had some bad luck tonight, as did Everett, but he came flying back. And of course, Area 51 and all the admins. It's a lot of work behind the scenes to put this on for us, and we really appreciate having the platform to do this. And of course, you guys up in the booth for doing a fantastic job at Green White Checker TV. So looking forward to next week.
All right, sir. Yeah, go debrief with the team. Like I said, go find that cold one in the fridge, and look forward to seeing you in 1 week's time, sir.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, Brandon, that leaves us one fellow left to chat with, and that is going to be our race winner in the number 16 of Cody Nagels. Cody, you were a busy man tonight. Like I said, won the pole, win the race. Nothing in between happened, as I always like to joke. But I mean, I was talking to Gabe there and Tom, and I was kind of laughing because I say Brennan's all in on he wants the drama. I say and then talking with Tom, he's like, yeah, I try to steer clear of it and just try to get a good race and not affect the outcome, everything. So it cracks me up that Brandon and I are the polar opposites on some of those things. But dude, I mean, I was telling Brandon, like, there was points at even the very, very beginning where I'm like, it's lap 5. It's not 5 to go. Like, you guys are going at it right off the kick. I mean, and then of course we'll get to your wild saves at the end, like you seem to just somehow keep being able to do. But I mean, just from your stand of views, I know you've done some big races. Obviously, there's those money races that happen from time to time, and obviously those really high split big races that bring a lot of attention. I mean, where does this one line up in just the outright intensity from go to some of those crazy ones?
Well, you've got your officials or like your big races, and I'm running another ERA race next week, so that's going to be on iRacing, actually, $4,000 again. So you got those races, okay? You've got your high I rating guys, but you've not got like very large teams. It's basically your cream of the crop rise to the top. You've got your setup shop affiliations and stuff like that, but it's more so that the skill gap from top to bottom is so narrow. It simply is just who is faster and gets out there, and you cannot play games because the second you do, you get your doors blown off. In these kind of races, it does open it up a little bit when you get close for championship, and it really brings out the worst in people. But you have the teams and alliances get built, and then it gets to the end, and it ends up just being a bunch of team games between teams, and it brings out the worst in us, and I hate it. But it's what we got, and it looked like it was kicking off pretty early, and I had a feeling that it was going to be, one of them races, and I hope we can get it dialed down just a little bit, next time. But it was a bad look, and I do apologize to Area 51 admins for having to see that one.
As a fan, Cody, I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I think we're the polar opposite. I think they loved it. I mean, to me, when we see races like this, to me it just shows like emotion. People want to win here, and to win here, it means something. So, if it's worth fighting for, it means something to them. So, but it was a wild race, and so we seen it tonight. So we know we're coming right back here to the same place. You know, it's kind of like rivalry football. You play them one week and then, oh man, you got to play them the next week again. In the playoffs, how do you approach this next race? You know, with these two guys, Maxwell and Gabe, going to be the heavy hitters and the favorites to compete for that championship. How do you approach this?
I mean, I kind of want to be just a dedicated pusher if I can to Maxwell, and I mean, I hated it like mid race. We got through the pit cycle, and it was settled out to where Gabe was on bottom, and then I was leading the mid. Everett was pushing me, and then Maxwell, the one that you directly competing with him, was on the inside. And so I'm hearing Gabe lift steadily. Well, he's trying to make sure that Maxwell don't clear, but in the meantime, I've got Everett just keeping me equal to Gabe to make sure I don't clear. And I was getting very frustrated with it. And I'm at the point where it's like, I'm not racing for points. I'm in here truly, like, I'll be real with you guys. I'm in here. I love Gabe. I respect Gabe. And I know he's aggravated with me right now, but I'm not too thrilled, but it's not necessarily at him. But I'm at the point where I want to put on a good show for Area 51, and I want to help Maxwell win a championship. I like him, and he messaged me and was like, "Hey, you want to help me?" Sure. Otherwise, I wasn't even going to come in here, but he asked me, and I'm in here trying to help him. And games started being played pretty early, and we were getting doored on the bottom, and I was getting kind of frustrated. And then someone keys up and they start jawing a little bit. So finally, I retaliated, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for retaliation, but there's only so much I feel like I can take. And then it ended up kind of being an avalanche. One or two things happen, and then you end up getting more events that happen. And it's not going to surprise me if I get in big trouble for it, but I'll take it like a man. It is what it is.
No, I think you nailed it. And if you go back and watch the broadcast, right as you're talking about that, me and Gael, we touched on it, early in the race, the patience, you have that patience, but as the race goes on, and exactly with the same part of the racing that you're talking about is that are these drivers' patience, growing thin with this type of racing, and it's good to give the feedback and and hear it back from the drivers, and sometimes a little bit of jawing is what it takes. And but I think the way you guys are driving, and I know you don't really like it, but it is really entertaining, and I hope you guys come back and put on another one next week.
Yeah, I do too. It's just the putting on a good show is one thing, but you also don't want to get away from the mission statement of Area 51, and I feel like we did tonight, and that's why I am disappointed. But the deal between me and Everett runs much deeper than Area 51, and I think it just boiled over into this race. And after the race, he decided to make it very personal and bring up my wife and kids. So I want to let that be known to Area 51 admins. But outside of that, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Gabe. He's very successful and good at what he does. But in my opinion, that whole team gets brought down by the 24. And he's been kicked out of a lot of leagues for a reason. And I just think he's a complete stain on Area 51.
So I don't have much on that one. But as saying, and Brandon, I mean, we've talked about before, where it's like people, let's say a lot of the super speedway group, like they're with each other, various leagues, let's say. So yeah, so you guys are close together a lot of times, and so sometimes there's big highs, sometimes there's big lows, and so unfortunately there'll be situations like this that come up where like, I mean, Gabe mentioned too, where it's like heat of the moment, yes, but then usually for him after, like I said, he kind of has some cool down time. Okay, and it's kind of blown over at that point. So, yeah, unfortunate, obviously that they got to that point. But again, I mean, and again, cue on cue the replay of you. I'll say we'll go to that real quick before we go to your shout outs there. Again, I mean, I think I counted it 3 or 4 full locks on that steering wheel through the trial of there. To keep it pointed in the right direction. I mean, at this point, is this just muscle memory?
Yeah, it's muscle memory. Earlier in the race, Everett made a comment about he was going to turn in and wreck me, and I basically challenged him on it because I know I can save most of it. I ain't going to save every single one of them, but I like my chances. And I mean, I hate doing that to Gabe is the thing, and I know he's listening, and like I apologize. the thing is, when I get raced the way I get raced the entire race, and it ain't even directly from Gabe himself. I mean, part of it was, but I get raced that way, and then to a certain degree at the end, I'm throwing everything out the door, and I'm just gonna get the win. I don't like it, and like I said, I'm gonna hear from Charles about it. I already know, but it is what it is. I want everyone after this just to put this behind us and move on and have hopefully a cleaner finish, because when it comes down to it next week, I would like to have a dedicated pusher, hopefully me, behind Maxwell, and I want Everett to be behind Gabe, and I want just 1v1, and we'll see who wins. That's all I want.
So,
No sandbagging, no games, just drag race.
Yeah, that's it. Or just go full Talladega Nights and do the race, foot race to the finish. But no, again, I mean, and that's the thing is, I mean, and the crazy part is, well, not crazy, but I mean, we've seen this in actual NASCAR. I mean, like I look back at the Roval race where there's the quote unquote coded messages of like, oh, I'm taking care of my tires, and basically it's like, hey, don't pass that guy, and things like that. So it's that's when you get into these situations where it's so close to the very end of it, every point's gonna matter, and yes, I mean there's a lot to play for. Maybe not as big as in NASCAR, obviously, but yeah. So no, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's just everything just gets a lot more hyped up and everything. So. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm reading the chat say Brandon is all in on it. But yeah, man, again, Cody, like I said, as always, dude, got to give you the floor again. Glad to see you back on track as well. And leaving off, or yeah, bringing back where you left off as well, getting the win tonight. So got to give you the floor. Thanks and shouts for that win this evening, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for everything he does for me, my family, and that is what comes first in my life. And this video game will never come in front of that. I want to thank the guys that, ran with me tonight. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank the Area 51 League, and I've raced here for a lot of years, and part of me thinks that they might not want me back after that. I mean, it was a lot to do in that race, and if it is the last time I talk to you guys, I want to say thank you for everything, especially you, Gael, have done for me, and just broadcasting all these freaking races. It's been fun, but maybe I'm just going overboard a little bit. Maybe it ain't that serious, but I know how they like to race in Area 51, and it got bad, and I got my hands dirty in the middle of it. So I'm gonna take it like a champ on whatever they decide they want to do. But best of luck next week to Maxwell and Gabe. They're both very deserving guys to win a championship, and hopefully, like I said, if I'm coming back, I want a drag race. I don't want any games. I don't want any dooring. I want their team versus us. Give us a lane. Give them a lane. I want to be the pusher, and I want to see who comes out on top. That's all I'm asking for. I will race clean if they agree to do the same.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to see it. So yeah, I mean, I'm saying we'll be finding out in 1 week's time, like you said. It'll be fun to see who comes out top, because yeah, right now it is those two that are pretty much going wire to wire. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. And I'm gonna try to run away as far as I can from the other side of things. I'll let the admins do their stuff. Yep. I'll stay here up in the booth where it's nice and calm. But no, great job tonight, Cody. Like I said, it was a blast watching, guys. And again, I mean, we saw as it was happening, we're like, okay, there's some strategy afoot on this one. But yeah, you guys were able to get it there done at the end. So definitely, again, great job tonight, man, getting that win. And then yeah, go enjoy the time with the family, and look forward to, hopefully, I'll say again, I think we'll be fine. I'm not going to step on toes though, but I look forward to seeing you on track next week, Clear.
Absolutely, and much loved. Anyone who has ever been admins of Area 51, y'all have a very thankless job behind the scenes, and I very much appreciate it.
All right, so well, take care. Have a good night, man, and see you next week.
You too.
I keep moving, Brandon. I apologize, sir. Well, Brandon, it's a spicy one, it looks like, after tonight. And I went through the points, and it is a huge point swing after our first Talladega race. After the previous race, it was 1 point between Gabe and Maxwell. After tonight, it is 1 point between Gabe and Maxwell. So net same between the two of them after all the craziness that went on tonight. So with Cody getting the win and then Gabe finishing second, Maxwell did get the 2 bonus points, however, finished 2 spots behind Gabe. So everything basically just washes out. It's a 1-point race between the two of them next week here again at Talladega.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And man, I tell you, if you go back and you look at the beginning of racing and what it was built on, character and blood and everything, sweat and emotion, and that's what you get here at Area 51. We've seen it tonight. Some people boil over, and I think, when speaking to Cody, the emotion means something. It means something to win here. This ain't just some regular other league. We talk about all the leagues around. This ain't you can see it when you win here at Area 51 and can put yourself in a position to win a championship. You're gonna do it, and you'll do whatever you got to do to get that championship. And sometimes it comes with some bumping and banging. We see it all. It's gonna make the emotion and everything that much bigger next week. Is the racing was racing tonight, and the drivers had to be at their best tonight. And if you didn't, you suffered, and that's what racing's built on. And so you got to bring your best next week if you want to win a championship.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly it. I mean, and at the end, there's a lot of ways to win races. I mean, there's obviously the outright pace. Again, a plate track, there's going to be a lot of teamwork and drafting, execution, be it in and out of the pits, strategy on kind of when to pit and all that. And then there's going to be times where it's a strategy win. And so we were seeing that at that point where there was some strategy being played where Gabe and then we're trying to keep as best as possible, trying to keep that 16 and the 94 kind of pinned down. That way they couldn't get reassembled because, yeah, I mean, that's in their best interest because Gabe knows, hey, if we can keep this the way it is, they're going to finish, like, it'll either be me or Cody that finishes first or second, and then it'll be Maxwell that finishes third. So it'll be, again, kind of a net positive for me in that sense. And so, and I think that's what we saw there. They were like, there was again attempts of, okay, let me try to find a way to get that switched up. And yeah, so basically it got tense there. And I mean, that's, again, we see that in real life racing, other leagues, other, like Cody's mentioning, he's got some of those big races that he's been a part of before. And yeah, when you get in these situations, the pressure ramps up and just everybody will get a little bit more heated. So yeah, I'll say we're not done. We got one more week here. And again, it's literally 1 point between that number 88 car and the 94. So we'll see how that one comes out. Again, bonus points could be huge tonight. 1 bonus point leading a lap, 2 for leading the most laps. And of course, if you can get pretty much if either of them win the race, they've got the title. I don't see any way that's changing. So we'll see if anybody's going to try to spoil that win from the two of them, though. So we'll be there to find out, though, Brandon.
Yeah, and like I told Boom on Friday, coming into next week, you need to call up if there's anybody that's ran in this league and this year, you need to call them up. You're going to need the teammates. You're going to need the firepower, and you don't want to be stuck in your teammate on the inside and you stuck on the outside and can't get to them. So bring your firepower and execute, as it's going to be tough as Friday and Sunday right back here again in 1 week.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Friday points. That'll be the first race we have coming up, and there's 4 drivers within 6 points. So that's going to be a very, very close battle between those drivers there over on the truck side of things. And then, yeah, so it's a 1 point once again between Gabe and Maxwell. Dean is in third, 20 points out, so it would take a lot to put him back in the mix. But again, in these situations, if those two focus too much on each other to see what the car counts are, if Dean can steal a win, that's 5 points right off the kick, and then it could wind up even bigger depending on how far back those other two could fall. So don't count Dean out of this one yet. Like I said, crazier things have happened, so it'll be fun to see. And in 1 week's time, we will be back on Tuesday night for the Indy cars as well. Say Matt Wagner, he wants you to bet on him on that Tuesday night race, Brandon. So definitely peek over there for him. I'm not sure what the betting odds are, so make sure they're good though before you choose him. But yeah, everybody watching and supporting us, thank you all so much. As I popped in just at the end there, let's say we had Mrs. Steele popping in. Obviously, Andrew was in here earlier. Matt, a lot of fun having you guys pop in and chime in and kind of rooting on your friends, your family, and everything like that. So thank you all so much for being a part of that one. And yeah, Brandon, as always, pleasure doing these with you. You make it so much fun. And I said we're polar opposites on how we want races to be drama-wise and how we go about the races, but that's what makes it that much more fun for me as well. So hope you all have a wonderful evening. And of course, as always, until next time, take care, stay safe, and have a good night.